Good morning, everyone. Today, we'll discuss how to make a literary analysis paper, as the English class cannot go without this kind of work. Before anything else, let us know what a literary analysis paper is. So, to analyze is to investigate in detail the structure or makeup of anything in order to explain or interpret how its pieces interact together. It is an argument in which the writer examines the author's literary methods, word choices, and writing structures used in the text to express his or her personal perspective, interpretation, judgment, or critical appraisal of the work. By creating a literary analysis, we are not only recognizing but also analyzing certain elements of a book. Writing a literary analysis can be overwhelming, but it doesn't have to be if we have some guidance to assist us with our paper. So, follow the steps that I am going to discuss over here. Writing a literary analysis can be overwhelming, but it doesn't have to be if we have some guidance to assist us with our paper. So, follow the steps that I am going to discuss over here. The first step is to read the text critically. So, when carrying out literature analysis or literary analysis, a person should read slowly. We should start a notebook where we would put down our thoughts. We should take notes when we find ourselves in one of the following situations. It could be to disagree with the author, want to praise the author's skills, come across a plot twist that resembles our own lives, or it could be have anything to say on the matter. Second step is to brainstorm a list of potential topics. So we must highlight important passages in the text and take notes on these passages. Later, when writing the paper, these notes should help us to remember which aspects of the story caught our attention. The topic chosen should always be based on a writer's interpretation of the author's message. Here are some things a writer may want to consider when brainstorming for a literary analysis. So the first one is literary devices. So when people ask about how to write a good literary analysis, literary devices become the most challenging aspect for them. These devices involve the following terms and notions. These are literary elements such as plot, mood, and characters. As for the dialogue, what is the purpose of the dialogue? Is the dialogue appropriate in terms of word choice or sentence length? How does the dialogue impact the characterization? How does the author use the dialogue to show the mood of the characters? How does this aid the author's message? How does the dialogue impact the plot? Next is the figurative language, which includes symbolism and metaphors. How are figures of speech such as simile, metaphor, and hyperbole used throughout the text? How are these figures of speech important in relation to the meaning of the text? Are figures of speech interrelated between other literary elements? Next, we have theme. What is the major idea or theme of the work? How does the author relay this theme? Is there a greater meaning to the details given? How do the characters' moods affect the theme? What allusions are made throughout the work? Are there repeating patterns or symbols? What does the title say about the theme? Next is we have literary techniques such as foreshadowing and repetition. We also have imagery. In what way might a specific image or series of images be analyzed? How might the development of images throughout the work be explained? Are the images important to the meaning of the work? How are images interrelated with other literary elements? To be able to analyze these aspects, we should read theory and textbooks. Also, we should examine enough sample literary analysis essays. We need to see how other writers handle the overview of literary devices without making our texts too formal. Aside from the literary devices, we have language. In a literary analysis paper, it is not enough to say that the author has a masterful command of the word. The writer should concentrate on the following important aspects. So, is the language modern, archaic, or full of slang? Does the author use poetic phrases? Are the sentences predominantly long or short? How does the rhythm of the text impact its mood? It would be wise to answer the following question in a literary analysis essay example. Do all characters speak the same language? Or does each one have their particular style? Individual speech manners are significant merits of fiction. As for the narrative voice, a text can be written either from a first person or third person perspective. In a literary analysis example, the writer should explain the position of the narrator. Are they omnipresent, or does the reader hardly notice them? Are they reliable, or do they share a distorted version of events? Writers with little experience might ask how to do literary analysis when the narrator is absent. In this case, speak about the tone. Is it neutral, comic, or tragic? What emotions does it evoke in the readers from the first passage? How often does the reader come across exaggeration, irony, or incongruities? For the structure, in a novel, the key elements of literary analysis are chapters. Most examples of literary analysis paper include comments on the timeline of the story. Do the events unfold in chronological order? Does the author make the readers travel back and forth in a time machine? How easy is it to switch between different time layers, and which effect does it produce? For the conflict, the following types of conflicts are most likely to be present in a literary analysis. So we have one person versus another, person versus society, person versus technology, person versus supernatural forces, an inner conflict within a person, which is good versus bad intentions, and instead of one person, there might be a group of people. Third step is writing a good title. Our title should make it obvious what our analysis will be about. It usually includes the author's name and the text under consideration. Keep it as brief and interesting as possible. A frequent strategy for the title is to include a relevant quote from the book, followed by a colon, and then the rest of the title. The fourth step is writing an introduction. So in the introduction, we'll introduce the subject to the readers. We must describe the topic of the paper in a few sentences. So we must make an effort to pique readers' interest by addressing the topic's concept for familiarity or by relating the topic to a current or historical occurrence. So we must provide some information about the author or the text itself. So here is an example of an introduction. The Yellow Wallpaper by Charlotte Perkins Gilman is a popular literary piece, especially in women's gender studies. It focuses on several inequalities in the relationship between John and his wife. It was published for the first time in 1892 in a New England magazine and is considered to be one of the earliest and most essential feminist literary pieces in America. The story illustrates the physical as well as mental deterioration of women during the 19th century due to the medically prescribed treatment, the rest cure, which consists of bed rest and isolation from the relatives, friends, and work, as well as hobbies that were deemed too exciting. Gilman created a very effective fictional narrative based on her personal experience with depression, and this had a strong impact on other women. The fifth step is to write a thesis statement. The thesis should tell our reader exactly what our paper will be about. It should contain our specific topic, our main point about the topic, and the points of discussion we will include in our paper. The analysis or thesis statement is what we will prove in our paper, and it should come at the end of our introductory paragraph. It should be clear and easy to find. These are the helpful questions for identifying purpose. So first is, what main idea did the author want the reader to understand or take away from the text? And the other one is, what idea do we as readers feel is most frivolous? Here is an example of thesis statement. So Gilman's short story, The Yellow Wallpaper, was written to condemn the sexual politics which made the medical treatment, the rest cure, prescribed possible. The sixth step is writing the body. The term regularly used for the development of the central idea of a literary analysis paper is the body. In this section, we present the paragraphs, at least 3 paragraphs, for a 500 to 750 word essay that support our thesis statement. Good literary analysis paper contain an explanation of our ideas and evidence from the text, from the short story, poem, or play that supports those ideas. Textual evidence consists of summary, paraphrase, specific details, and direct quotations. Topic, sentences, and writing body paragraphs. So each paragraph should have a topic sentence that explains what the paragraph is about. Each topic sentence derives from the thesis statement. So support each topic sentence with 3 pieces of evidence. Use in-text citations for each piece of evidence we use that is not our idea. Here is an example of topic sentence. In Gilman's story, The Yellow Wallpaper, John acts as the mirror through which women are viewed negatively in the society, a society in which women are not perceived to be full citizens. Here is an example of a piece of evidence. John dismisses his wife's concerns about her room and refuses to renovate it to accommodate her. Furthermore, John treats his wife as a child by calling her a blessed little goose. The dismissal of her concerns and seemingly innocent nickname demonstrates that John does not see his wife as an equal, but rather a child, which men viewed women as in the 19th century. So we must note here that since the piece of evidence is paraphrased, the writer includes an in-text citation to inform the reader that it is not their idea. A transition word is used to introduce or add to the writer's piece of evidence. We must be careful not to simply retell the story without providing our interpretations. A better analysis would focus on our interpretation, not on summarizing the story. Seventh step is writing the conclusion. The conclusion is the final paragraph in which we state our thesis, tie up ideas and evidence from the paper, and present a call to action indicating what the reader should do with this new information. At this stage, we must not introduce any new concepts. Here is an example of conclusion. Overall, the yellow wallpaper is a sad tale of a woman who has struggled to find her identity beyond the domestic domains of married life. Operating from the tone of the woman, Gilman is able to highlight the different struggles she had to face in order to express herself and her identity to her husband. Despite her attempt to reach out to her husband, John, the act remains futile, as her actions only reflect a psychological and mental condition that needs to be treated. By bringing these issues forward, the story is able to show the disparity of treatment surrounding women during the period, as well as the oppressive social forces that continue to impede the development of women through the use of misdiagnosis and disdain. The last step is proofread. Once the content of the paper is well developed, it should be proofread for grammar, punctuation, and spelling. It is often helpful to read the paper slowly and clearly out loud. If possible, another person should listen and read along as the paper is being read. The paper should be printed and proofread several times until an accurate final copy is created. Be alert to common grammatical errors such as sentence fragments, comma splices, or run-on sentences. Remember to consult a style manual for grammatical or citation questions, and if further assistance is desired, group workshops and individual appointments are available. At this moment, let's have some quick review of the literary analysis paper. Again, a literary analysis goal is to reveal our ability to understand and reveal the deeper meanings of a work of literature. We must make sure to get familiar with the basic structure of the introduction, ending with a thesis statement that reveals what we will analyze, the body paragraphs with specific cited evidence from the text, and a conclusion. We must keep the tone formal and academic and rely on evidence to support our claims. That's all for today. You are now officially ready to analyze. Thank you so much for watching, and God bless us all.